Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. This won't be your standard tutorial video or product review. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm going to give a studio tour. Now when I say studio tour, don't get your expectations too high. It's actually a tour of a bedroom in the basement of my house. So when you think of people like Marques Brownlee or Casey Neistat, it's not going to be as extravagant as that. But I have had a few of you asking me, what is my process? How do I pull these videos together? And it's kind of fun too, because typically if you've ever watched any of my videos before, you've been over there in the camera and you've looked out this way and you've seen things on this side of the camera. Today what I want to do is I want to show you how I set up my room and how I pull these videos together. And to do that, I can't just have you looking out of that camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump onto my other camera right here, and I'm going to show you what the setup looks like. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to show you what the other view looks like. So this is what I look at when I look at the camera. So on the right-hand side, on the very right-hand side, this is my wife's exercise bike. Yes, this is a smaller house in Seattle, so space is a premium, so it's not just a studio. It's a multi-purpose room. It's both a studio and an exercise room. But right there in the center, this is the camera that I look into when I record these videos. What I specifically use, this is a Sony a6500. It's a 4K camera. And I have a 1.8 aperture lens, 35 millimeter. The nice thing about this lens is when I sit back here in the seat, what it does is I'm very sharp and it makes the background have that nice blurry kind of bokeh effect in back of me. And that's why I like it. It does a very nice job. That's typically the lens that I use. When I'm sitting over here too, one thing that's nice is I have an old iPhone that I have set up. The Sony camera works with software that allows me to get a live view of what the camera is seeing. I could adjust different settings like the white balance. I could adjust other things as well. I could start the recording, stop the recording. So it's a nice way just to make sure that the frame of my shot is good as I'm recording. So I typically have that sit there. Sometimes I'll bring it over to my table and then I'll control it from over here. But that's my main camera setup that I use. I don't use the camera for audio. Instead, I use a different source for that. So this is purely for the video. Over on the side, this is a really big diffuser that I picked up with a grid on there. What this allows me to do is it helps me get that nice defined light. The specific light that I'm using, I'll zoom in over here. This is the Aputure 120D. It's a very nice LED light. The really good thing about this light is it produces light that looks very natural. And when I say natural, it's very similar to sunlight. And that's why this light's gotten such good reviews. And this, especially when you compare it to other lights, it looks much more natural. So I use that as my key light. Over on the right hand side by the window, that's my fill light over here. So just natural sunlight coming in to fill the room with light. And that's what I use as so that's my main lighting source, my fill light. And then if I jump behind over here, I have a backlight over here. And the nice thing about a backlight is it makes me stand out a little bit from the background. And this is also an LED light that I have sitting there. And all it does is it shines light up on the wall there. So it just illuminates the background a little bit. Next one I want to look at, this is my PC setup that I have over here. So I have an ultra wide monitor. Typically when I'm doing screen recording, what I like to do is I'll reduce the size so the dimensions fit a 1920 by 1080p monitor. Those tend to be the dimensions that most cell phones support, also most PCs support. So I like to make sure that my resolution matches that. Over here, what you'll see is I use PowerDirector 18. I've been using that as my video editing software. It works very well. It renders 4K video very quickly. I use Audacity over here as my main audio recording software, and then I'll line this up with my video after the fact. And then I have OBS down here. This is my screen recording software. I use that to capture any of my screen recordings, but it's very nice editing video on an ultra wide monitor. This is a Dell monitor that I picked up. I think it's been about a year and a half, but it's very nice for video editing. And when I look down here, this is the PC itself. This is a Dell PC. I think it was about $2,000 or so, but top of the line processor, lots of memory, nice video card, and this thing handles 4K video very easily. It doesn't have any issues with that, but I've been very happy with that. And then the next thing that I also want to show is the microphone that I use for recording audio for this channel. So we're going to zoom in on this. I did a video on a Rode microphone recently. This is the Rode NT USB microphone. It's a studio microphone with a pop filter in front. So we're going to take a quick look at that. But this one picks up very nice audio. It's got an insanely long cord. I think it's a 20-foot cord hooked up to it, so I could carry it all over the room as I show you what the room looks like. One thing I typically do is, because I have this light set up here, I don't like using the ceiling light because that's more of kind of a yellow colored light. So typically when I'm recording videos, I will turn off the light. And then when I sit down in front of the camera, you'll notice that the light quality is kind of very natural and looks very much like sunlight. All right, well that was just a really quick tour of my studio. I continue to work on it. One of the things that I've gotten feedback on is that there's a lot of reverb in this room, and it kind of makes sense as you look around the room. It has concrete floor in here, and the walls are pretty bare, and so anytime I talk, a lot of the sound kind of bounces around. But so I'm investigating ways that I could reduce that. But all in all, this is how the videos come together. This is, I guess, how the sausage is made. I wanted to show you a quick behind the scenes look. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave any comments down below. What do you think about the studio? What are things that you think I should add? Is there anything else I should do to it? I'd love to hear your feedback. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get a notification anytime new content like this comes out. And lastly, if there are any other videos that you want to see me pull together in the future, leave a comment down below. I read them all and I'll add it to my list of videos to create. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye.